Hello, this is Eiko Onoda speaking, broadcasting from Japan. Uh, I am I've been strongly opposed to the idea that the radioactive debris uh, will be brought here, transport trans trans transports transporting far away and be burnt here. Uh, Here, Kyushu, uh, it's very mountainous region. You see how mountainous Kyushu is. Uh, let's see. Here is the map of Kyushu. Uh, uh, roughly speaking, uh, they have been burning radioactive debris at the near site of tsunami hit area. Uh, I think we have right now 7 incinerators are operating uh, near the site, transacting 1,000 radioactive debris in a day. The 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 rate the rate of the figure uh, has been uh, the figure how many tons can be transact has been increasing uh, day by day. Probably in July, the figure is going up to more than 4,000 tons a day. I'm sure that by the end of December this year, uh, total 31 incinerators are going to be under operation and will transact 5,000 tons a day. All 31 incinerators will be located at the coastline of northeastern Japan. It's good in that those area has those area has huge compiled debris at the site, so it's much more efficient for them to burn it beside the compiled debris. And also it's good or it's not bad in that we usually have a west wind that carries um, smoke always or usually from west to east. You see, uh, they have a vast Pacific Ocean in the east, which means not populous at all. Although smoke will enhance on the over the ocean, uh, over the ocean. um, and Tokyo has been burning radioactive debris brought from Onagawa, Miyagi Prefecture. But in the case of Tokyo, Tokyo itself has been contaminated a lot. So their their general garbage contains also some radiation. I'm not sure whether the general garbage in Tokyo uh, shows more radiation than the debris brought from Onagawa. However, though both shows high or certain um, radiation. So um, so even though they mixed it in a general incinerator in order to burn them, it doesn't clearly uh, make sense. They ought to or they ought not to burn radioactive debris since they have been already burning general garbage which contains lots of radiation. Uh, in comparison to those two areas, Kitakyushu has been completely free from radiation, not only the distance, but radiation free. So I must say how silly for them to bring radioactive debris from far, far away and burn them in their city. When it comes to the shape of land special to those areas, Tokyo is a vast plain, so it's much easier for them to expand all over the atmosphere because no mountain in Kanto region. But let's see here in Kyushu. Kyushu is such a mountainous island. Inhabitants live in a tiny plain just adjacent to mountains. So once they started burning radioactive debris, the smoke that contains radiation never spread, but collide into the mountains adjacent to the city, and tend to get gathered on the foot of mountains. Eventually, inhabitants will breathe those radioactively contaminated air by force, which will cause, which might cause a fatal disease, fatal results as well. So, in many aspects, it's kind of just a world of imagination that never ought to be taken place. Cost of transportation is so high, which was 14 billion US dollars for 8 tons, 7 or 8 tons for 2 years. Besides, we shall have a serious health effect by burning them here. Again, I must say that the Kokura or Kyushu is radiation free. We ought not to bring any radioactive material in the first place. After the tsunami, they had tens of debris, but some have been burnt already, and others are waiting in front of the incinerators there. And also, how about thinking about Green Bank project? On the 10th of July 2012, I mean this year, 59